Before we begin this powerful story about respect, honor, and the moment everything changed, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. What you're about to witness will remind you that you never know someone's story until you really look. Share this video because everyone needs to see what happens when disrespect meets real honor. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss our next incredible story. Flight 247 to San Francisco was boarding at Los Angeles International Airport. Jessica Chen walked onto the plane in comfortable clothes, a tank top and athletic shorts. She carried a backpack instead of expensive luggage. She looked tired, like someone who'd just come from the gym or who'd been traveling for days. When she checked her boarding pass at the gate, she found that she'd been upgraded to first class. She was surprised but grateful. She walked down the jet bridge and onto the plane, heading toward the first-class cabin. That's when the flight attendant noticed her. "Excuse me," the flight attendant said, her voice sharp. Her name was Patricia, and she was known for being difficult. "Are you in the right section?" "I got upgraded," Jessica replied, showing her boarding pass. Patricia looked at the boarding pass and frowned. Something about Jessica's appearance bothered her. The cheap athletic clothes. The simple backpack. The fact that she didn't look like someone who belonged in first class. "I'm sorry, but we're going to need to move you back to coach," Patricia said coldly. "The computer made an error. First class is for our elite members. You clearly don't fit the profile." It wasn't a reasonable request. The computer hadn't made an error. The upgrade was legitimate. But Patricia had made a judgment call based on appearance, and she decided that this woman wasn't worthy of first class. Jessica could have argued. She could have insisted on her rights. But she was tired. She was coming back from something important. So she just grabbed her backpack and walked toward coach. But as she turned to walk back, the pilot happened to be walking from the cockpit. He saw Jessica's tank top. He saw her back. And he saw the tattoo. It was a SEAL trident, the symbol of the Navy SEAL teams. A tattoo that meant only one thing. This woman was a Navy SEAL. The pilot's face went completely white. He reached out and gently grabbed Jessica's arm. "Wait," he said. His voice was shaking slightly. "Wait. Come with me." Like and subscribe right now because what happens next will absolutely shock you. Jessica Chen was a Navy SEAL. She was one of the first women to ever pass the rigorous SEAL training program. It had taken her 4 years of trying. She'd failed twice. Both times, she'd gotten back up and tried again. The third time, she'd made it through. She'd been a SEAL for the past 8 years. Jessica had completed 2 combat tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. She'd earned medals for bravery. She'd led a team of elite operators. She'd trained new SEAL recruits. She'd saved lives. She was one of the most accomplished warriors in the United States military. But you wouldn't know it by looking at her. Jessica was 35 years old, 5 feet 6 inches, 140 pounds. She was fit, but not in the way that made people stare. She didn't look like someone's idea of a warrior. She looked like someone's gym buddy, someone's yoga instructor, someone you'd pass on the street without thinking twice about. That was exactly how she preferred it. Jessica had never wanted to be famous or celebrated for her military service. She'd become a SEAL because she wanted to serve her country. Because she wanted to prove to herself that she could do something incredibly difficult. Because she wanted to be part of a team that mattered. The tattoo on her back, the SEAL trident, was something she'd gotten immediately after her second combat tour. It was a way of honoring her team. The men and women who'd fought alongside her. The ones who'd made it back alive. And the ones who hadn't. That tattoo meant everything to her. She'd never tried to hide it. She wore it with pride. But she also didn't go around showing it off. She didn't go to first-class cabins to show people how impressive she was. She didn't use her military service as a way to demand respect. She was humble about her accomplishments. That was the way she'd been raised. Jessica's father had been an immigrant from Taiwan. He'd come to America with nothing. He'd worked as a janitor for 10 years while learning English. He'd gone back to school. He'd become an engineer. He'd built a successful career through hard work and humility. Her mother was a second-generation Japanese American. She was a doctor. She'd also built her career through dedication and quiet excellence. Both of them had taught Jessica something important. Real accomplishment doesn't need recognition. Real strength is quiet. Real power is the kind that doesn't need to be announced. So when Patricia had kicked her out of first class, Jessica wasn't devastated or angry. She was just tired. She'd been on leave from her base. She'd been in San Francisco for 4 days attending a medical conference. She'd given a presentation on trauma medicine to other military medical personnel. Now she was heading back to base, and all she wanted was to get home and sleep. The fact that she'd been upgraded to first class was nice, but not essential. She could sit and coach. She could sit anywhere. It didn't matter to her. What mattered was that she got home safely. Captain Michael Rodriguez was the pilot of Flight 247. He was 42 years old and had been flying for commercial airlines for 12 years. But before that, he'd been in the Navy. He'd been a naval aviator, someone who flew Navy aircraft. Michael had served with Navy SEAL teams multiple times. He'd flown them into combat zones. He'd provided air support for their operations. He'd seen their bravery firsthand. He had tremendous respect for Navy SEALs. They were some of the most impressive people he'd ever met. So when Michael saw Jessica's tattoo, the SEAL trident on her back, it stopped him cold. He immediately recognized what it meant. He immediately understood that the woman being walked to the back of the plane was a Navy SEAL, a combat veteran, a warrior, and she was being treated with disrespect because of how she looked. Michael made a decision right then and there. Michael gently pulled Jessica aside, away from the boarding gate and passengers, into a quiet area of the jet bridge. "What's your name?" Michael asked, his voice respectful. "Jessica Chen," she replied, confused about what was happening. Michael looked her directly in the eyes. "I saw your tattoo," he said. "I know what that means. I've flown with Navy SEALs before. I know what you are." Jessica's expression didn't change, but she nodded slightly. "Thank you for your service," Michael said. And he meant it with complete sincerity. "I'm Captain Michael Rodriguez. I'm the pilot on this flight." "Captain," Jessica said, acknowledging him with respect. "I need to tell you something," Michael continued. "The flight attendant who told you to move to coach made a judgment call that was wrong. Your upgrade was legitimate. You belong in first class. And I want you to go back there." "It's okay," Jessica said. "I can sit and coach. It doesn't matter to me." "It matters to me," Michael said firmly, "because that flight attendant just showed disrespect to a Navy SEAL, a combat veteran, a warrior, and I'm not going to allow that on my aircraft." He paused. "Will you come back to first class?" Michael asked. "As my guest, if not because of the legitimate upgrade." Jessica hesitated. She didn't want to make a fuss. She didn't want to be the center of attention. She didn't want to cause conflict. But she also understood what Captain Rodriguez was doing. He was standing up for her. He was making a statement that disrespect toward military veterans would not be tolerated. "Okay," Jessica said. "I'll move back to first class." Michael walked her back to the first-class cabin. He walked right past Patricia, the flight attendant. "Ms. Chen is sitting in 1C, Michael said to Patricia, his voice calm but with an unmistakable edge of authority. "Her upgrade is legitimate. She will be treated with the utmost respect on this flight. Is that clear?" Patricia's face went red. "I was just trying to," Patricia started. "I know what you were doing," Michael interrupted. "And it was wrong. Ms. Chen is a Navy SEAL, a combat veteran, and she will be treated accordingly." He gestured toward the first-class seat, and Jessica sat down. Michael had another flight attendant, a young man named David, bring her water immediately. "Is there anything you need during the flight?" David asked warmly. "Just water is fine, thank you," Jessica replied. Michael returned to the cockpit and made a decision that would change the trajectory of this flight and Jessica's experience. Over the intercom, before the plane pushed back from the gate, Michael made an announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Rodriguez. I want to welcome you aboard Flight 247 to San Francisco. We have a special passenger on this flight today, Ms. Jessica Chen, who is sitting in first class. Ms. Chen is a Navy SEAL with the United States Navy. She has completed 2 combat tours in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan. She has earned medals for her service and her bravery. I want to ask all of our passengers to join me in thanking Ms. Chen for her service to our country. The entire first-class cabin erupted in applause. Jessica's face turned red. She didn't want this attention, but she accepted it graciously, nodding to the passengers who were clapping. Patricia, the flight attendant, was mortified. She realized immediately what she'd done. She'd disrespected a military hero. She'd judged someone based on appearance. She'd made an assumption that was completely wrong. She walked over to Jessica's seat after the applause died down. "I'm so sorry," Patricia said, and she meant it. "I made a terrible mistake. I judged you based on how you looked, and that was wrong. I deeply apologize." Jessica looked at her. "It's okay," Jessica said kindly. "You didn't know. A lot of people don't know that military personnel don't always look a certain way. We come from different backgrounds. We dress differently. We don't always announce who we are." She paused. "I'm not upset with you," Jessica continued. "But I want you to understand something. Respect should be given to everyone, not just people who look impressive or wealthy. Everyone has a story. Everyone has value. You should treat people with respect regardless of their appearance." Patricia had tears in her eyes. "You're right," Patricia said. "Thank you for teaching me that lesson. And thank you for your service." For the rest of the flight, Patricia was incredibly attentive to Jessica. David was also very helpful. The other passengers in first class kept coming over to thank Jessica for her service. But what struck Jessica most was the conversation she had with Captain Rodriguez during the flight. Rodriguez came back to the first-class cabin during cruise altitude. He sat down in the empty seat next to Jessica. "Thank you for doing what you do," Rodriguez said. "I've flown with a lot of Navy SEALs. I know how hard you train, how much you sacrifice, how important your work is." "Thank you for standing up for me," Jessica replied. "You didn't have to do that." "I did have to," Rodriguez said. "Because if we don't respect our military, who will? If we treat our heroes like they're invisible, what does that say about us as a nation?" He paused. "I was in the Navy for 12 years, Rodriguez continued. "I flew Navy fighters before I joined the commercial airlines. I've seen combat zones. I've seen what real bravery looks like. And it doesn't always look impressive. It's quiet. It's committed. It's the kind of thing that most people never see." Jessica nodded. "I joined the Navy because I wanted to serve," Rodriguez said. "And one of the ways I serve now is by making sure that military personnel are treated with respect. Because we've forgotten that these are the people keeping us safe. We've gotten so focused on celebrities and wealthy people that we've forgotten about our heroes." He stood up. "Thank you again for your service," Rodriguez said. "And for teaching us all a lesson today about humility and grace." When the plane landed in San Francisco, passengers gave Jessica another round of applause as she deplaned. She was embarrassed by the attention, but she accepted it with grace. What happened next surprised her. Captain Rodriguez asked her to come back to the cockpit after all the passengers had deplaned. She did. "I want to tell you something," Rodriguez said. "What happened today, the way Patricia treated you, and the way the other passengers responded when they learned who you are, this is a moment that needs to be shared." "I'm not looking for publicity," Jessica said. "I know you're not," Rodriguez replied. "But this is important. Because a lot of people need to understand the lesson that you taught us today." He paused. "I'm going to reach out to some media contacts and tell them the story," Rodriguez said. "If that's okay with you. Not to embarrass Patricia or to make you famous, but to remind people that heroes are often invisible. That we need to treat everyone with respect. That appearance doesn't determine a person's worth." Jessica thought about it. "Okay," she said. "You can tell the story. But I want Patricia included in this. I want people to understand that she made a mistake, but she learned from it. I want people to see that when someone does something wrong, they can acknowledge it and grow." Rodriguez nodded. "That's very gracious of you," he said. 2 days later, The story appeared in several news outlets. The headline read, "Navy SEAL removed from first class, then pilot recognized her service." The story included quotes from Captain Rodriguez about why respect matters. It included a statement from Patricia about how she'd learned an important lesson about judging people based on appearance. And it included a brief statement from Jessica about the importance of treating everyone with dignity. The story went viral. Within 48 hours, it had been shared millions of times. People were moved by the story. They were inspired by Jessica's grace. They were impressed by Rodriguez's leadership. And they were moved by Patricia's genuine apology and her commitment to change. Social media was full of comments like, "This is what real leadership looks like. Thank you to Captain Rodriguez for standing up for what's right. I'm ashamed of how often I judge people based on appearance. This story reminded me to see people for who they are." Jessica Chen is a hero. But the most heroic thing about her is her humility and grace. Thank you to all the military personnel who serve our country in ways we don't always see or recognize. Jessica received hundreds of messages from other military personnel who thanked her for the way she'd handled the situation. They said it had made them feel seen, made them feel respected, made them understand that their service mattered. She also received messages from people who'd been bullied or disrespected for how they looked or where they came from. They said Jessica's story had reminded them that their worth wasn't determined by other people's opinions. Patricia reached out to Jessica privately. She wanted to have a real conversation, not just a public apology. "I need you to understand something," Patricia said when they spoke on the phone. "My behavior wasn't just about judging you. It was about my own insecurity. I've worked in the service industry for 20 years. I've always felt like I wasn't good enough. Like I was beneath the wealthy passengers I served. So I coped by making judgments about other people, by deciding who deserved respect and who didn't." She paused. "Your grace toward me helped me see that this is a pattern I need to change," Patricia continued. "I've started therapy. I'm working on understanding my own insecurity so I don't project it onto others." "I'm proud of you for doing that work," Jessica said. "That takes courage." Patricia eventually became an advocate for mental health awareness in the airline industry. She spoke about her own journey and how meeting Jessica had changed her life. She encouraged other service industry workers to examine their own biases and insecurities. The story of Jessica Chen and the SEAL tattoo became more than just a viral moment. It became a cultural conversation about respect, humility, and the importance of not judging people based on appearance. Military recruitment increased after the story went viral. Young people were inspired by Jessica's quiet strength and her unwillingness to demand recognition despite her extraordinary accomplishments. Captain Rodriguez became something of a spokesperson for military respect in the commercial airline industry. Airlines started implementing training programs specifically designed to teach employees about respecting military personnel. Some airlines created special recognition programs for military service members. But most importantly, Jessica's story taught people something crucial. Real heroes don't announce themselves. Real strength is quiet. Real power is the kind that doesn't need recognition. Jessica went back to her base and continued her work. She didn't give interviews. She didn't seek publicity. She didn't let the attention change who she was. What she did do was use her platform to help other military personnel feel valued and respected. She started a non-profit organization called Silent Warriors. The organization was designed to raise awareness about the mental health challenges that military personnel face. It provided resources for veterans transitioning to civilian life. It advocated for better benefits and support systems for military families. Jessica built it quietly, without fanfare. But over time, the organization grew. It helped thousands of veterans and military families. It changed policies. It saved lives. Captain Rodriguez continued flying commercial airlines. He continued making sure that military personnel were treated with respect on his flights. He became known throughout the airline industry as someone who cared deeply about honoring those who served. Patricia became a leader in her airline's customer service department. She implemented new training protocols focused on understanding and respecting different types of people. She mentored younger flight attendants about the dangers of judging people based on appearance. Most importantly, All three of them, Jessica, Rodriguez, and Patricia, became advocates for a culture of respect and humility. Final message: the power of quiet strength and grace. The story of the seal tattoo on an airplane became more than a story about disrespect and redemption. It became a story about what happens when grace meets accountability, when humility meets recognition, when quiet strength is finally acknowledged. Jessica Chen never wanted to be a hero. She was a hero because she served, because she was willing to do difficult things for people she didn't know, because she was committed to something bigger than herself. The tattoo on her back wasn't a way to show off. It was a way to honor her team. It was a mark of sacrifice and commitment. It was a reminder of why she did what she did. When Captain Rodriguez saw that tattoo, he didn't see someone trying to be impressive. He saw someone who'd given everything for their country, and he decided that person deserved respect. When Patricia realized what she'd done, she didn't make excuses. She acknowledged her mistake and committed to changing. She did the real work of understanding her own biases and insecurities so she could be a better person. That's what this story is really about. It's about recognizing heroes when they appear in front of us, even if they don't look like what we expect. It's about treating everyone with respect regardless of appearance. It's about having the courage to acknowledge when we're wrong and committing to do better. Most importantly, it's about understanding that real strength is quiet. Real heroes don't announce themselves. Real power is the kind that doesn't need recognition. Your call to action. If this story moved your heart and reminded you to respect military personnel and treat everyone with dignity, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to our channel because we believe in stories about heroes, respect, and the power of grace. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss our next incredible story. Leave a comment below and tell us about a time when you judged someone based on appearance and were proven wrong. Tell us about a military family member you're grateful for. Tell us about a time when someone showed you grace when you made a mistake. Your story matters, and sharing it could inspire someone else to be more respectful and humble. Share this video with someone in the military. Share it with someone who works in customer service. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that real strength is quiet and real heroes are often invisible. Share it because visibility matters. When we celebrate the quiet warriors among us, we tell them that they matter. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We have more incredible stories about heroes, respect, and the power of grace. Stories about real people doing real things. We'll see you in the next video. Flex biceps, the truth you need to remember. Heroes are all around us. They might be sitting next to you on an airplane. They might be the person working at your grocery store. They might be your neighbor. They might be your teacher. They might be anyone. Real heroes don't announce themselves. They don't demand recognition. They serve quietly, doing their jobs, protecting their communities, and asking for nothing in return. Jessica Chen didn't need an announcement from the pilot to feel like her service mattered. She knew it mattered because she was doing it for the right reasons. She was doing it to serve her country, to protect people she didn't know, to be part of something bigger than herself. What Captain Rodriguez did by announcing her service wasn't for her. It was for everyone else. It was to remind them that heroes exist, that they deserve respect. That appearance doesn't determine a person's worth. And what Patricia did, by acknowledging her mistake and committing to change, was the most important of all. Because real change comes when people are willing to examine their own biases and do the work to become better. Like, subscribe, share, and respect the quiet warriors in your life. They deserve it. Epilogue. 5 years later. Jessica Chen is still serving in the Navy SEAL teams. She's been promoted to Lieutenant Commander, making her one of the highest-ranking female SEALs in the military. Her non-profit organization, Silent Warriors, has helped over 50,000 veterans and military families. It's expanded to work with military-affiliated organizations around the world. Captain Michael Rodriguez continues flying commercial airlines. He's been honored by the Navy for his commitment to respecting and honoring military personnel. He speaks regularly at airline training programs about the importance of recognizing and respecting those who serve. Patricia has become a national speaker on the topics of bias, respect, and personal growth. Her story about learning to examine her own insecurities and change her behavior has inspired thousands of people in customer service industries to do the same. The viral story continues to be shared. It's taught in schools as an example of respect and humility. It's shared in military training programs as an example of what civilians can do to support the military. It's shared in corporate training as an example of recognizing and respecting all people regardless of appearance. But most importantly, it's a reminder that real heroes are quiet. Real strength is humble. And real power is the kind that doesn't need recognition. Jessica still wears her Seal Trident tattoo with pride. Not because it makes her impressive, but because it reminds her every day of why she serves. It reminds her of her team. It reminds her of the sacrifice. It reminds her that she's part of something bigger than herself. And every once in a while, when she flies on an airplane, she smiles, remembering the pilot who saw that tattoo and knew exactly what it meant. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Let's celebrate the quiet warriors. Let's honor the people who serve without seeking recognition. And let's remember that real heroes are often the people we least expect. Will see you in the next video.